I've known Steven since high school, since before I even really knew myself. He was the loud one, always joking, always surrounded by people. I was the quiet friend who hung at the edges, laughing when I was supposed to, speaking only when necessary. Somehow, we just clicked. And somehow, over the years, I fell for him. Of course, he never knew. At least, I don't think he did. So when he texted me last week, beach weekend, just us. Like old times. My heart did that thing it always does when it sees his name. A little skip, a flutter, a reminder that I still hadn't let him go. Now we're in his car, speeding down the coastal highway with the windows down and the music just loud enough to make conversation optional. The wind tousles his brown curls, and he's got one arm hanging out the window, the other tapping the steering wheel to some throwback punk song we both used to obsess over. "I can't believe you still listen to this," I say, grinning. Steven glances at me, his eyes hidden behind mirrored sunglasses. "Are you kidding? This is our anthem. You used to scream this in my mom's minivan like your life depended on it." I chuckle. "Yeah, until your mom banned me from O Privilege for a year." He laughs, a real full-bellied one, and for a second, it's like nothing's changed, like I'm not silently trying to forget how his smile still wrecks me. "You packed sunscreen, right?" he asks. I nod. "Yeah, the one you stole from my bathroom last summer." "Guilty." He smirks, nudging my shoulder. "Your brand smells better than mine." His arm lingers against mine just a moment too long. Not enough for someone else to notice, maybe. But I feel it like a jolt. He's always been affectionate. Casual touches, roughhousing, the occasional half-hug. But today, something feels off. Or maybe it's just me, hoping for things that aren't there. We lapse into silence for a while. The sun's high now, painting the road ahead in gold. I glance over at him, and for a moment, he's not smiling. He looks thoughtful, almost nervous. "Everything okay?" I ask. He blinks and nods quickly. "Yeah, just thinking." "About?" He shrugs, shifting in his seat. "Nothing serious. Just glad we're doing this. Feels like we haven't hung out like this in forever." "We haven't," I say quietly. He turns the music down a little. "I miss it. You and me. No pressure, no crowd. Just us." Something about the way he says "just us" makes my stomach tighten. His tone is softer than usual, more deliberate. I wonder if he realizes what that does to me. I missed it too, I admit. He smiles again, this time smaller, like he's holding something back. Good. The rest of the ride is a mix of easy laughter and loaded silences. We play stupid car games, argue about what snacks we forgot to bring, and blast old songs we haven't heard in years. But every now and then there's a moment, his hand brushing my knee as he reaches for something, the way his gaze lingers a little too long in the rearview mirror, that makes my heart race. I tell myself not to read into it. I've done that too many times before. Still, as the ocean finally comes into view and Steven lets out a whistle, I can't shake the feeling that something's different this time. He looks over at me and grins. "Ready for the best weekend of your life, dude?" I force a smile and nod. "Yeah, let's do it." But deep down, I know this weekend might be more than just sand and sun. Something's coming. I can feel it. The beach house is smaller than I expected, but in a good way. Tucked behind a row of swaying palms, it looks like something out of a summer postcard. Whitewashed walls, a front porch with 2 wicker chairs, and the soft sound of waves crashing not far beyond. The salty breeze hits me as soon as we step out of the car, and I breathe it in like it's medicine. Steven slaps the roof of the car and grins at me. "Not bad, huh?" "Not bad," I echo, squinting up at the sky. "Kinda perfect, actually." He fishes the key from his pocket and leads the way up the short path. "Just wait till you see the inside." The inside is just as charming. Light, wood floors, faded nautical decor, and a faint scent of sunscreen and lavender. But the real kicker is the bedroom. Singular, as in one. One room, one bed, a queen bed. I stop at the doorway, heart already picking up pace. There's only one bed," Steven walks past me, drops his duffel on the floor, and shrugs like it's no big deal. Yeah, I figured. It's not like we haven't crashed in the same bed before. Yeah, when we were 17, and I didn't have a habit of staring at him while he slept. I can take the couch, I offer, too quickly. He raises an eyebrow. Dude, it's vacation. We're not being weird. Come on. He says it with a grin, playful, like this is nothing. But my brain is already in overdrive, calculating angles, blanket borders, ways to make sure we don't accidentally touch in the middle of the night. I toss my bag next to his and pretend it's fine. We settle in quickly. He turns on some music. I stock the little fridge with drinks and snacks we picked up on the way. Then we grab 2 beers and sink into the worn-out couch in the living room. The sun pours in through the big window, casting golden light across his face. He takes a long sip and leans his head back. Man, I needed this. I nod. Work's been that bad? It's not just work, he says, exhaling. I broke up with Brooke last month. My eyebrows rise. Seriously? You didn't say anything. He shrugs again, but it's not as casual this time. Didn't want to talk about it then. It just fizzled, you know? Nothing dramatic. Just felt like I was faking something. I study his face. Faking what? He hesitates. Like, we looked good on paper, but I didn't feel it. I'd be with her and still feel disconnected. My heart tightens. That's rough. Yeah. He glances at me, eyes lingering a second too long. But being here? With you? This feels better. I freeze for half a second. Smile, nod. Yeah, it's good to just be. He nudges my knee with his. Exactly. No pressure. Just you and me like old times. I laugh softly, trying to stay calm even as my chest threatens to cave in. He shifts closer on the couch, resting his arm along the back, fingers just brushing the top of my shoulder. Casual. Friendly. Except it doesn't feel that way. Not to me. I ever tell you how easy you are to talk to? He says. I shake my head slowly. No. Well, you are. Always have been. There's a pause. The kind that feels heavier than silence should. I'm glad we're doing this, he says again. Quieter this time. Me too. I whisper, barely trusting my voice. I sip my beer, stare out at the slowly darkening sky, and try not to let my hopes carry me away. But with Steven sitting this close, looking at me like that, it's already too late. The next morning greets us with cloudless skies and a breeze that smells like salt and freedom. We throw on swim trunks and head down to the beach with a cooler, 2 towels, and way too much sunscreen. Steven's very proud of his no-burn streak. The sand is warm beneath my feet, the sun already strong enough to glisten off the water. Steven drops the cooler and stretches, shirtless, muscles flexing in that casual, effortless way he always does. I pretend not to notice. I've had years of practice. You ready to get destroyed in volleyball? He asks, flashing a cocky grin. You realize I only played because you guilt-tripped me in high school, right? Yeah, he says, grabbing the volleyball. But you secretly loved it. He's not wrong. I liked anything that got his attention. We warm up with some light tossing before jumping into a spontaneous match with a few strangers who offer to join. That's how we meet Tyler and Mia. A laid-back, flirty couple with golden tans and contagious energy. Tyler's got the kind of charm that makes you like him instantly, and Mia's the kind of girl who makes you feel like you've known her forever. After we win the game, thanks mostly to Steven's spikes, the 4 of us collapse onto beach, towels, chugging water and catching our breath. You two play well together, Mia says, adjusting her sunglasses. You've got that team chemistry. Years of practice, Steven says, nudging my shoulder with his. This guy and I go way back. Tyler grins. Are you guys? I freeze. The question hangs in the air like a rogue wave. Steven laughs, not missing a beat. What? Dating? Nah. Just best friends. But he doesn't pull away from me. His arm is still resting against mine, and he doesn't look at me when he says it. He doesn't correct Tyler with the usual loud denial or exaggerated joke. He just lets it sit there, and that silence says something. I just don't know what. I laugh lightly, trying to act chill. Yeah, no, just friends. Tyler raises his hands. Hey, I'm all for it either way. You two just give off a vibe. Steven smiles, eyes squinting in the sun. We get that a lot, do we? Later, we all head into the water. Steven splashes me immediately, of course, and I chase him through the waves like we're kids again. At one point, he dives under and surfaces right in front of me, way too close. I can see water dripping down his chest, his eyes scanning mine. You good? He asks, his voice softer under the roar of the ocean. Yeah, I say, my voice catching. Just catching my breath. Don't drown on me, dude, he teases, bumping his forehead lightly against mine before swimming away. That moment stays with me long after we're back on our towels, drying off and laughing about Mia's epic belly flop. Steven keeps touching me. Shoulder nudges, back slaps, even an occasional hand on my knee when he's telling a story. It feels good. It feels dangerous. Because I don't know what it means. Is he just being Steven? Friendly? Comfortable? Open? Or is there something more to the way he lingers? The way he looks at me when he thinks I'm not paying attention? As the sun starts to dip, casting long shadows across the sand, Tyler and Mia pack up to head out. You guys around tomorrow? Mia asks. Steven nods. Definitely. Cool, Tyler says with a wink. Maybe we can do another round. Loser buys drinks. Deal, Steven says, then throws an arm around my shoulders. And we won't be the losers. I force a smile, letting myself lean into him just for a second. When they're gone, Steven doesn't move his arm. He just stares out at the horizon like he's thinking about something else entirely. Today was fun. I say, breaking the silence. Yeah, he replies. It really was. He finally drops his arm, brushing sand off his chest. Hey, he adds casually. Thanks for coming this weekend. I know I kinda dragged you out here. You didn't drag me. I wanted to come. His eyes meet mine, and for a second something flickers there, something uncertain. But then he smiles and grabs the cooler. Come on, let's get cleaned up before we burn. As we head back toward the beach house, I try not to overthink it. I try not to let the hope creep in, but it's there, like the tide, quiet, rising, and impossible to ignore. The fire crackled softly, the sound almost lost under the steady whisper of the waves just beyond the dunes. Steven and I sat on worn wooden chairs around the small fire pit outside the beach house, our legs stretched toward the flames, beers in hand, stars scattered above us like dust. We'd been quiet for a while, not in an awkward way. Just the kind of silence that feels earned after a long day. The ocean breeze had cooled the air, and Steven had tossed me a hoodie earlier when I shivered. It was his, and it still smelled like him. Sun, salt, and something deeper I couldn't name. He broke the silence first. You ever think about how weird it is that we used to think this, he gestured vaguely to the fire, the stars, us, was something we'd outgrow? I smiled into my bottle. Yeah, like once we got older, everything would get more serious. Less fun. He took a long sip and leaned back, eyes on the sky. Instead, it just got more complicated. I glanced at him. Yeah? He nodded, and there was something in his expression. Tired, maybe. Or just real. I feel like people expect me to be a certain way, act a certain way, be this guy who always knows what he wants, who always wants the same thing. I didn't say anything. I just waited. I mean, even Brooke, he said. She was great, like objectively perfect. But I'd be with her and there was this distance. Like she was looking at me through some version of me I didn't even recognize. You ever tell her that? I asked softly. He shook his head. How do you explain that kind of thing? Hey, I like you, but I feel like I'm play acting half the time. That'd go over well. You're allowed to not know everything, Steven, I said. You don't have to have it all figured out. He gave a dry laugh. Tell that to everyone who thinks I do. I watched the fire dance between us, shadows flickering across his face. There was something raw in him tonight, something he wasn't hiding. Maybe it was the beer, maybe the ocean air, Or maybe this moment had just been waiting to happen. I felt the buzz in my chest, not just from the drinks, but from being near him, from the weight of what I wanted to ask. I hesitated, fingers tightening around the neck of my bottle. "Can I ask you something?" I said finally. He looked at me, eyes steady. "Course." I swallowed. Have you ever thought about being with a guy?" There it was. The air shifted, like the waves had paused for a beat. Stephen didn't look away. He didn't laugh. He just stared into the fire for a long moment, brows drawn. "Honestly," he said, his voice low, "I don't know." My heart thudded once, hard. "With the right person." "Maybe," he added. "I don't think it's about gender for me. It's just connection." I nodded slowly, trying to keep my breathing even. "That makes sense." He glanced at me again, and this time, his eyes didn't flick away. "Why'd you ask?" I could have lied. I could have said I was just curious. I could have said Tyler's comment earlier got me thinking. But I didn't. I shrugged lightly. Just felt like the right time to ask. Stephen didn't press. He just looked at me, like he was trying to figure something out. Like maybe he already had. We let the silence stretch again. But it wasn't the same as before. There was a new weight to it. Not heavy in a bad way, just full. Full of questions we hadn't asked, thoughts we hadn't said. The fire burned lower, glowing red and gold in the darkness. Eventually, Stephen stood and stretched. "We should head in, it's getting late." I nodded and stood too, brushing sand from my pants. We didn't speak as we walked back to the house. His arm brushed mine once, and I didn't move away. Neither did he. Inside, the lights were low, the air still warm from the day. Stephen grabbed 2 waters from the fridge and handed me one. We stood there for a moment in the small kitchen, not saying anything, just being. He looked like he wanted to say something more. His lips parted slightly, his eyes softer now. But then he just gave me a small smile, the kind that felt like a bookmark in the middle of a story. "Night, man," he said. "Night," I whispered. We climbed into the same bed, each facing away at first. The silence stretched between us again. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was electric. I could feel his warmth behind me, every breath in sync with mine. And even though nothing had technically changed, everything suddenly felt different. The room is quiet, except for the distant hush of the ocean and the occasional creak of the old beach house settling into the night. I lie on my side, back to Stephen, eyes wide open, staring at nothing. I can feel the warmth of him behind me, close, but not quite touching. The silence between us is heavy with the weight of everything unsaid. My heart's been racing for what feels like an hour. Sleep isn't even an option. Then, his voice, soft and almost hesitant, cuts through the dark. "Hey, you awake?" I swallow. "Yeah." A pause. I hear him shift slightly. The mattress dips a little. "You ever like someone who didn't like you back?" he asks. The words hit me square in the chest. I think for a second. "Yeah," I say carefully. "A few times?" "You tell them?" "No. Not always." "Why not?" I shift onto my back, staring at the ceiling now. "Because sometimes, it's easier to keep something beautiful in your head than risk destroying it by saying it out loud." He's quiet for a long moment. "But what if it's killing you not to say it?" I exhale slowly. "Then I guess you eventually have to decide if the risk is worth it." Silence again. It stretches longer this time. "Is it worth it for you?" he asks, voice lower now, closer. I turn my head slightly, not sure if he's moved or if I just imagined the change in his tone. "I don't know," I say honestly. "It depends if the person is even remotely open to it." He doesn't say anything. The quiet hums between us like electricity. Then he asks, even softer, "Would I know him?" I don't answer right away. My heart is thudding so loud I'm sure he can hear it. After a long, shaky breath, I turn fully onto my side, facing him. The room is dark, but I can make out the outline of his face, the faint light from the window catching in his eyes. Yeah, I whisper. I'm looking at him. The silence that follows is the longest one yet. He doesn't speak, doesn't laugh or recoil, just lies there. Still. Then, slowly, he turns over too. His face is inches from mine now, close enough that I can see the rise and fall of his chest, the flicker in his eyes. His lips part slightly like he's about to say something, but he doesn't. He just looks at me, and I look right back. I hold my breath. My entire body is on edge. Like if I move too fast, this moment might dissolve. Then, slowly, hesitantly, Stephen leans in. His forehead brushes mine first, then his nose, and finally, his lips. It's soft, gentle, almost uncertain, but it's real. He kisses me like he's not sure he should, like he's waiting to be stopped. I don't stop him. I kiss him back, just as carefully. My hand finds his, wrist, holding it, grounding myself in the fact that this is actually happening. That Stephen, my straight best friend, the guy I've loved in silence for years, is kissing me. He pulls back a little, his eyes searching mine. I don't know what this means, he whispers. I don't either, I reply, breathless, but I've wanted it for so long. He gives me the faintest, shaky smile. Me too, I think. We stay there, faces close, foreheads resting together. Neither of us says anything else. There's too much in the air. Fear, confusion, hope, something unnameable but strong. But right now, none of it matters. Right now, I'm kissing Stephen, and he's kissing me back. And for the first time in a long, long time, I feel like maybe this isn't just in my head. Sunlight spills softly through the sheer curtains, casting golden lines across the ceiling. I blink into the brightness, my body still and quiet, like it knows not to move just yet. For a moment, I forget where I am. Then I feel the faint shift of the mattress beside me. Stephen. Everything comes rushing back. His whisper, the way he leaned in, the feel of his lips on mine, that charged silence, that kiss, the way we fell asleep facing each other, a breath apart. He's not there now. The space beside me is empty but still warm. I sit up slowly, rubbing my face. My chest feels full and tight all at once. Hope and fear tangled together like seaweed on the shore. I hear the clink of dishes from the kitchen. Pulling on a hoodie, I make my way out, heart thudding again. Not the frantic pounding of last night, but something quieter, heavier, the kind that comes with not knowing where you stand. Stephen's at the stove, shirtless, flipping scrambled eggs in a pan like it's any other morning. He glances at me when I walk in, offers a small smile. Hey. Hey, I say, voice still, thick from sleep. There's a long beat of silence. He gestures toward the table. Coffee's there. Thanks. I pour myself a cup and sit down, watching him move. He doesn't seem nervous, just deep in thought, quiet, not avoiding me, not cold, just not quite the Stephen I've always known. He sets 2 plates down and sits across from me. The eggs are a little overdone, but I eat them anyway. Halfway through breakfast, he finally speaks. I've been thinking about what happened. I nod, setting my fork down. I don't know what it means, he says, eyes on his plate. I don't have answers, and I don't want to say something now that I'll take back later just because I feel confused. I stay quiet, letting him speak. But, he says, looking up at me, I don't regret it. That lands in my chest like a tide rolling. In, slow, heavy, warm. Me either, I say. We sit there for a moment, the air between us still. Not tense, just real. Honest. He leans back in his chair. I don't want to pretend like nothing happened, but I also don't want to rush into defining it. I smile, just a little. So, no labels? He exhales, relieved. Yeah, no labels. Not yet. Okay. His shoulders drop like he's been holding a weight. You're okay with that? I've waited this long, I say, trying to keep it light. I can be patient a little longer. He laughs softly, a genuine sound, and that moment feels like sunlight, like something opening. We finish breakfast in easier silence. The dishes clink as we rinse them out together. His arm brushes mine, and this time, it doesn't feel accidental. It feels intentional. We don't talk about what's next, and that's okay. Right now, being here, being honest, is enough. Later, we'll pack. Later, we'll drive back and return to a world that expects answers and definitions. But for now, it's just us. And for the first time, that feels like something real. The drive home feels different, not just because we're heading back to the city, or because the beach air still clings to our clothes, but because the silence between us isn't awkward anymore. It's comfortable, full. Stephen has one hand on the wheel, the other resting near the gear shift. His sunglasses hide his eyes, but I can tell he's relaxed. Every so often, he glances at me and gives a quiet smile, like he's thinking the same things I am, but doesn't need to say them out loud. The radio plays some soft indie track we both know, and we hum along without really singing. There's a calmness to the road, to the moment. It feels like we've crossed into new territory. And while neither of us is mapping out where we're going, we both know we're not where we used to be. At a red light, without a word, Stephen reaches over and takes my hand. His fingers are warm, his grip gentle. It only lasts a few seconds, just until the light turns green, but my heart feels like it's suspended in that small gesture. I don't look at him. I don't have to. That touch says enough. The rest of the ride is quiet, but it's not empty. It's full of things I'll probably replay for days. The way his thumb brushed mine. The way the silence felt safe. And yeah, I still don't know what happens next. I don't know if he'll want to talk more about it tomorrow or pretend. It didn't happen the day after. I don't know if that kiss meant he's changing or just discovering something. Or maybe both. But I do know this. A door opened. Maybe for him. Definitely for me. And even if nothing else happens, even if this weekend lives as a beautiful, confusing, sacred little bubble, it happened. It was real. That's enough for now. Because sometimes one weekend changes everything, and sometimes one touch at a red light can tell you more than 1,000 words ever could.